deep in the fog-shrouded Tyrol mountains on a freezing dawn in 1491, as Habsburg Emperor Maximilian I's war chest empties like sand through clenched fists amid a desperate siege against Swiss rebels. A 32-year-old Augsburg merchant named Jakob Fugger receives a frantic courier's pouch stamped with a double-headed eagle, the message inside a plea for 100,000 florins in silver, or the empire crumbles. What if this wasn't just a loan, but a lever Fugger's copper mines in the Schwarz Valley, churning ore like blood from stone to bankroll the Habsburgs, throne forging a $400 billion adjusted fortune that made him Europe's first billionaire, funding popes and princes, while his Fuggerei almshouses mocked the misery of the miners whose lungs he filled with dust? Grip the edge, because the Fuggers weren't pious traders. They were the empire's unseen spine, turning Tyrolean tunnels into treasuries that toppled foes and tempted fate's a dynasty where family, faith-fueled fiscal fury, leaving us to ponder, does divine right demand dirty deals? That 1491 bailout catapults Jakob into the Colossus, the silver rush of the 1480s turning Schwarz into a hive of 10,000 diggers, his father Ulrich's textile stalls in Augsburg evolving from wool to wire. Jakob at 18 apprenticed in Venice's Rialto banks, dodging Doge daggers to learn letters of credit, returning in 1487 to wed with a 100,000 florin dowry from cousin Barbara the heir electric with ambition as he eyes the Fugger nephews. Copper claims a $50,000 stake in Tyrols. Alapek's mine yielding 20 tons yearly, his heart pounding as wagons creak over. Alpine passes to Venice Foundry's profits, doubling to $20,000. But the real blaze bursts in 1507. Maximilian's pawnshops, a lifeline for war widows. Fugger advancing 80,000 florins at 20% interest. Repaid with Tyrol mining monopolies. Jakob's ledgers, a labyrinth of Habsburg IOUs. His brother Georg's death in 1506 a spur, the brothers splitting the empire. Jakob the merchant prince claiming Augsburg spires. His mansion a fortress of Flemish tapestries and Turkish carpets, yet nights haunted by miners' laments. Silicosis claiming 500 lives yearly in Schwarz shafts. Jakob's confessor murmuring absolution for necessary sacrifices. The stakes skyrocket in the 1510s. Reformation fires Jakob, funding the 1519 imperial election with 543,000 florins to crown. Charles V outbidding French King Francis. Eyes 400,000 couriers smuggling chests of copper florins across the Alps in mule trains guarded by Lance-Gext mercenaries. The Augsburg Diet of 1518, a powder keg where Luther's theses burn like tinder. Jakob's 100,000 florin loan to Pope Leo, the 10th buying indulgences that swell Fugger coffers. His Fuggerei founded 1519 as 52 rent-free homes for paupers. The world's oldest social housing, a pious facade over profit's pit. Residents praying thrice daily for the Fugger soul. But the human toll tolls louder. Hungarian mines leased 1515, yielding 1,000 tons copper annually. 2,000 forced laborers from Ottoman raids chained in shafts. Jakob's agents haggling with Suleiman the Magnificent for cinnabar quicksilver. The 1524 Peasants' War, a backlash blaze. 100,000 revolting against tithes Fugger farms exact. Jakob's private army of 1,000 crushing the uprising near Augsburg. 5,000 dead in fields he owns. His letters to Charles V, a velvet plea. The poor must pay for the prince. Suspense tightens like a miner's cable in the 1520s. New World lure. Jakob's scouts in Seville, funneling $200,000 to Cortes Mexico conquest 1519. Silver from Potosi mines flowing back via Fugger galleons. The 1521 fall of Tenochtitlan, a windfall of 10 tons yearly. But family fractures form. Nephew Raymond's 1525 death in a mining cave in a curse. Jakob's gouty rages in Augsburg's oak-paneled halls. His wife Barbara's quiet faith a bon. 7 children groomed for the grind. Son Anton apprenticed in Antwerp's bourse. Daughter Elizabeth wed to a Bavarian duke for alliances. The 1530 Augsburg Confession, a Fugger forum, Jakob hosting Luther and Zwingli in his halls. His $50,000 contribution to the Protestant caused a hedge against Catholic crowns. Yet the 1527 sack of Rome was shockwave. Charles V's troops looting Vatican treasures Jakob financed. $1 million in papal bonds defaulted. Jakob's fury a thunderclap. The emperor owes the emperor's banker. His 1530 loan to Charles of 300,000 florins at 12% the empire's lifeline. Copper from Mansfeld mines fueling cannon casts. Jakob's smelters in Schwaz processing 5,000 tons yearly. Profits cresting $1 million, making him the first with a net worth over 2 million florins, equivalent to $400 billion today. Europe's billionaire before the word was whispered. The climax erupts in the 1520s global gambits. Jakob's consortium with the Welsers, colonizing Venezuela 1528 for $100,000. New Nuremberg, a fiasco of cannibalism and revolt. But the silver flood from Potosi 1545 a deluge. 200 tons yearly minted into Habsburg thalers, stamped with Fugger eagles. Jakob's death, October 30th, 1525, at 66 in his Linz castle a requiem. His will, a $100 million bequest, split to sons Anton and Raymond. God and greed in balance. The Fuggerei enduring as rent-free haven. 150 residents today praying for the founder's soul. But ethical echoes resound. 1530s Anabaptist hunts in Munster. Fugger mines employing heretics at half pay. The 1540s Schmalkaldic War Jakob's $500,000 loan tipping scales to Charles V. The family's peak 1550s, a $2 billion colossus. Anton's Antwerp house underwriting Philip II's $10 million Spanish Armada. But inflation's scythe from New World silver guts 50% of value. The 1560s religious wars bankrupting Habsburgs. Fugger bonds defaulted 1575. The dynasty crumbling to $10 million by 1600. Heirs like Octavian Fugger pivoting to vintages and villas. The Augsburg house a museum today, with Jakob's portrait gazing from oil. His ledger open to the Habsburg debt page. Modern luxury's Fugger fingerprint in Rolex's precision echoes of Tyrol clocks. Ethical reckonings in 2020's mine closures. Descendants funding scholarships for Schwa's widows. The billionaire's ghost in Fuggerei gates. Rent 1 Rhine guilder, pray 3 times. The Fugger Chronicle, from 1491's Tyrol gamble to 2025's Fuggerei prayers. Unspools merchant might's molten core. Copper veins veining Habsburg hearts. Augsburg's bankers birthing Europe's first billionaire. A $400 billion blaze that bends. Does faith forge or forgive the fortune? If this forge of faith and fortune fans your fire, subscribe to hammer more histories with me. We're mining the past's purest ores as one. Next, Prussia's steel storm. Alfred Krupp's cannons to post-World War II revival. From war machine whispers to industrial espionage's electric edge. What vein of victory would you vein? Claim it in comments, and we'll cast it colossal.